Imagine a world without music. Car rides would be boring and mind-numbing, the endless highways dragging on forever and forever. Working out would be a chore. There would be nothing to push yourself to your limits, nothing to hype you up in the moment, and nothing to push yourself through that last rep. Work would become even more energy draining and stretch on for unbearable lengths. And most importantly, special memories with your friends and family would fade away. But as we turn on that special song, somehow life seems to get even more personality. Now we have songs to listen to on car rides, making them a lot more fun, viewing the world as new and fresh with each new mile. Workouts become more intense, with your music helping you to push through the pain and push yourself through that last rep. Working becomes a little less lifeless, songs helping you to lock in and be more productive. And your memories now have soundtracks. Moments in time you will never forget with the people you will always cherish, reminded of these good times with just a single tune. And I'm not speculating on all of this. Let me take you through my story and prove how one song can change everything. I've always enjoyed music. I loved listening to music in the car growing up, and I enjoyed listening to songs while I was doing work at school. A few years ago, I got my first pair of AirPods for my birthday. When paired with a new Apple Music subscription, I discovered a whole new world of songs. Listening to music definitely helped shape my high school experience for the better. Fast forward to last year, I was competing at a state event for a business club that I was a part of. Although I probably should have been studying, my friend and I were messing around listening to a genre called synthwave, which became really popular last year. Suddenly this one song came on that sounded super nostalgic, and I immediately enjoyed it. Right before going in to compete for my event, I was listening to the song, not expecting much. 2 nights later, I got called to the stage in front of 2,000 people to get recognized for my high placement in the event. I ended up getting 3rd in the state, qualifying for nationals. There were so many people watching, and I had never experienced anything like it, so my adrenaline was through the roof. After I got back to the room, the song started playing again. And I didn't put it on, but it somehow came on my phone. And this is when I realized that the song was actually going to be something really special for me. My memories now had a soundtrack to the song I had heard. Now you're probably wondering what song I'm talking about. Ironically, it's called Memory Reboot. I understand now that this is a very popular TikTok edit song, but at the time of hearing it, I didn't have TikTok and I had never heard it before, so all of my emotions and memories were completely genuine. I began to relate this song to good times. Whenever I listened to the song, my new memories would add to it. Achievements within sports, great times with friends, or just new competitions or experiences. As a result, Memory Reboot is a very meaningful song to me. It's part of the synthwave genre, so naturally I also gravitated to a lot more of these nostalgic synthwave sounding songs. But even with each new song, Memory Reboot will have a special place in my heart. Not just for all of the memories it created for me, but for the first time I realized that music in life can have a really big impact for you, and it ultimately proved how one song can change everything. So, in order to pay tribute to how much this song meant to me, I wanted to recreate it using instruments I knew how to play, which are the piano and the cello. Now, the song doesn't really have these instruments in it, so I needed to get creative in how I was using them to recreate the song. Oh, and by the way, lots of other talented people all across the YouTube community have made covers to this song, kind of similar to what I've been doing, so I'll link a few of them in the description that you should check out. They all definitely inspired me to do this, but I wanted to add my own twist by trying to perfectly, or as best as I could, recreate the song in its entirety. Little did I know that what I was about to set out to do would take months of preparation, recording, compilation, testing, and editing. Let me take you through the journey of how I recreated one of the most meaningful songs of my life and prove to you how one song can change everything. I made this little presentation about how I'm gonna go about making the song. I just kind of wanted to outline what am I gonna do to recreate Memory Reboot. So yeah, I made this presentation 3 months ago, so I have no idea why I put that, but yeah. So step 1 was the key signature. Now the normal Memory Reboot song is in G sharp key signature, and that's on the screen right now. But I didn't use the G sharp key signature because it's just too many flats, it's too confusing. So instead I think I used G. It made it a lot easier for the piano and the cello. Step 2. Beats per minute. If you don't know what beats per minute means, it's exactly what it sounds like, and this means that there's 81 quarter notes in the song per minute. This was probably the most important part because if I got the beats per minute wrong, the entire song wouldn't sync up. Anyways, Memory Reboot consists of just a few instruments, and I kind of like this text, I might use it more. But I do not have these instruments because I do not have FL Studio. The synth is one of these instruments in Memory Reboot. Another one is the bass, not to be confused with the bass, not the fish. A bass is kind of like a really deep sounding string instrument or guitar. Drums. Drums are another part of Memory Reboot. But I have none of these. Funny emoji. Now here's what I did to counter the fact that I have none of these instruments and I don't have a program. The synth is going to be converted to the piano and the cello. I've been playing the piano since I was 5. I've been playing the cello since I was 10. The bass, okay, this isn't actually true. I originally wanted the bass to be the piano pitched down, meaning that I would go in the editing software and like pitch the octave down. But what I did, I just played lower on the piano. I don't know how I didn't think of that. So that's what I did for the bass. And then the cello, I just played on a lower string. So let's get started. I'm gonna take you through the journey of how I recreated Memory Reboot from scratch, one of the most meaningful songs of my life. And also, we'll have a little fun along the way. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. So I started by looking up some sheet music on my computer. After finding a solid copy, I printed it out so I could practice on the piano. I found this really useful app called Moises, which basically separates the song into a few different tracks that made it a lot easier to try to figure out how to play. It goes from the drums to the bass to another category called Other, which is basically the instrumental of the song. And this is what the drums sound like. This is what the bass sounds like. And this is what the more instrumental part of the song sounds like. Separating the song into all of these components made it a lot easier for me to try to recreate. Now, moving on to January 11th of 2025, this is when I actually started to try to figure out the parts of the song. Because it was just the beginning, a lot of these earlier parts just consisted of me trying to figure out the beat of the song and then trying to figure out the melody by just tapping the keys and seeing what worked. So, it switches from that to it kind of starts after the off beat a little bit, so I just have to make sure that when I'm recording I don't start like the triplets right away. This is way more complicated than I thought it would be. The drums are going to be fun because I don't actually have any drums, so I'm going to have to get creative with that. Speaking of getting creative, this was kind of the whole motto of the song during the entire time I was trying to recreate it. I had to get creative with a lot of the instruments, including the drums, which we'll see very shortly how I did that. It's pretty creative if I do say so myself. It's actually way harder than it looks. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do that on the cello, but... And then in this part, it's like holding the note out. You can't really do that on piano because of the way the piano works. The note's always gonna fade out. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to like fix that. Alright, time to test out the cello. I have no idea how this is gonna go because the cello, it's a bit different from the piano. It's usually not in keys with a bunch of flats or sharps because they're really hard to play with the fingerings. And I have some ideas. Maybe I can pluck instead of bow for some of the bass notes or even the melody just to add a bit more depth. Plucking on a cello is like when you use your finger, and bowing is obviously when you use the bow. I don't think you guys understand how crazy that is. The bottom of the cello is the note C, and the bottom of the bass line, it's the note D. So we barely got it all the way down, so that's great. So that's a D, that's a C. Oh my god, that sounds so good. Hitting up a little practice session. Okay, so how it's gonna work for the bass on the cello is that there's 4 different levels of bass, and in this song, it starts at the level second from the bottom, so second lowest, then drops down to the lowest, then goes up to the highest, then the third highest, then second from the bottom, then very bottom, up to the highest, third from the highest. On cello, second from the bottom and the very bottom aren't possible with the strings because it doesn't go low enough. So the solution is to, instead of going second, first, fourth, third, you put the second and the first on top of the fourth and the third. So if second was here and first was here, fourth was here and third was here, you take the second and the first, which are kind of here, and you put them on top. So it goes second, first, fourth, third, but the second and the first are higher notes. I'll kind of show you an example of what I mean. So it's still going to be the same notes, except the first 2 notes are going to be an octave, which is 8 notes above what they normally are, in order to be able to play it on the cello. And then the section where the bass kind of cuts out and it's just like static hold. So where it's kind of holding it. I don't know if you can. So in cello you can do this thing called shifting. And it's basically when you play a high note but on a low string. I can play a D on the D string, or I can shift my finger up and play the same note on the string below it. So that's called shifting in cello. Now my idea with this is that between these notes you can hear a little bit of a slide. So instead of just going from like at the bottom, it sounds more like this. So my idea is that I can shift up on the C string, which is the lowest string. If this is the first note, I can play that on here. You see how that sounds kind of cool? Like it's the sliding of the finger. Yeah, I'll do that on the cello. Oh, and I also wanted to play the melody on the cello, so let's see if I can do that. That's gonna be tricky, oh my gosh. Hitting up a little practice session. Figuring out the notes for the cello was a little bit difficult. I kinda had to piece them together based on their intonation and how they sounded to my ear. Then, I finally got a solid run. I might have to write some sheet music for that because I'm not gonna remember how to do it. Wow. Alright. Now we just gotta figure out the drums, so. The one at the start sounds more like a punch, and the one after that sounds more like a clap. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what those are called because I don't do drums. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT for some ideas of what to do for them. So I found that using one finger on this countertop works really well for like the first part of the drum that isn't like the clap. Once again, I don't know what it's called, but if I go like this, if I kind of hit it on like the hard part, not the knuckle, but like on the inside, this part right here, it sounds about the way that I want it to sound. So I think that's pretty good. There's a part in the middle that sounds exactly like a maraca. So I think I can make like a bag of rice or like a cup of rice and shake it around like a maraca. As I went up to the kitchen to figure out how to make a bag of rice, I saw something crazy out of the corner of my eye. I was just closing my dishwasher and I figured out that the sound it makes when it closes sounds exactly like the second part. So right around like 23 seconds in, it starts doing like the shaker thing. So my vision for this part was kind of just to add a little bit of a shake that sounded exactly like how it sounded in the song. So I got this bag of quinoa and I tried to shake it up in this little container, and it actually gave me the sound I wanted. Alright, I figured out that if I put quinoa into a Tupperware container, it can kind of mimic that drum sound that I've been looking for, so I'm gonna try doing that. So I have all the drum sounds, I have all the piano sounds, all the cello sounds, so I think it's time to start getting this thing into motion. I tried to end the night off with a little bit of a practice session, but I began to understand that I had a lot more in store for me. Alright, that's pretty good. I think I'm gonna call it there for the cello. I kinda wanna do all the music stuff tomorrow, just so I can like recollect my thoughts and everything. My camera's only got 37 minutes left, so I'm gonna pick back up on this tomorrow. So I also gotta film. I gotta film my script too. Do you think I can do that right now? No, you cannot do that right now. And little do you know that this project is gonna take over 4 more months to complete. But alas, we just gotta keep on going, keep on pushing through until we arrive at January 19th, 2025, where I began to practice even more. Alright, it's a new week. I haven't worked on the song at all this week because I've been super busy, but I decided today I'm going to try to see if I can get the cello parts down and see if I can get those sounding good, because maybe it'll like inspire me to do the rest of the song in a way. But I'm going to write on a piece of paper and just try to like play it, see how it goes. So yeah. So I began to warm up for the day. And as I'm recording this, I kind of realized I do this weird thing where I look at the camera while I'm playing. I know it looks kind of goofy, but now it's time for me to practice the song. This is kind of when I realized that sheet music is really going to help me, so I didn't spend any more time waiting, and I began to pluck some notes trying to figure out what they would be on the sheet music. I spent the next few minutes writing numbers I could use as fingerings for the song, and also using my phone and also my plucking to figure out exactly what numbers I needed to put down for the sheet music. As you can see here, writing down the sheet music really helped. I was able to read the notes right from the page instead of having to think of what finger I would need next in the moment. This allowed me to get the really solid run that you're hearing right now. And with my newfound confidence, I tried to play along to the actual song. Okay, so for like one of the parts where it repeats, it does the thing where it goes up all the way to the top, but for the next part it doesn't go all the way to the top, so it's very confusing. This is way more complicated than I thought it was gonna be. Oh my god. I'm gonna do a metronome. That is tough. I spent the next 15 minutes or so just kind of practicing to the song, and I think this really shows how much work went into it. I think I'm gonna stop there for the cello and come back and record the other stuff later. Oh no! Since I was doing so much melody practice earlier, I came back later on in the day to practice a bit more of the other parts. I made sure that all of the bass parts were accounted for, including the triplets, the slides, and even the harmony that goes along with the song. It was time to move on to recording. I recorded all of the parts, such as the one you're hearing right now, on my phone, and this just proves that you don't have to have professional recording software just to make a good song. And yes, I really did record my dishwasher shutting for this drum part. 3 weeks later, on February 8th, 2025, I picked up the project again, ready to record some of the final parts. It's been a while since I've played, but I've been playing the piano and I've gotten a lot of the smaller parts down. I was able to kind of make a sheet to help me do the melody. On piano, it's different than cello because the fingers are different, but instead of writing the notes like an actual good piano player would do, I just wrote the fingers that I need to play because it's a lot easier for me to kind of just keep track of while I'm playing. So this sheet right here, I don't know if you can see the cello fingerings are on the top and the piano fingerings are on the bottom. If anybody here actually like knows how to make music, I'm doing like a disgrace to the community right now, but I don't really care. It's just easier for me. So yeah, I'm gonna try to play the melody and record it. I've been having a metronome go in my ear and I'm recording on my phone. Just like with the cello, the sheet music for the piano made a really big difference, and I was already coming along super well with the melody. I might just to the piano, maybe have the cello a lot softer, because the cello is just a lot harder and I don't think it sounds the best, but I don't know. Alright, let me try to get one more. As I sat here and recorded this was finally a glimmer of hope that this project would come to be something great. The melody sounded really good, and all of my memories flashed back to me in this moment. Yes! Bam! Okay, so I did one of the variants, but the first one I did wasn't as good, and it was the main variant I need, but I also need the variant with the repeat, so I'm gonna try to do that. I think I might just stick with the piano because just in terms of getting this video done in my own state, I really don't feel like trying to record it on cello because it's really difficult. I think I might want to go down, try to get the one cello part better. I'm not going to record it because I've already done it before. But yeah, it's coming along, and then I'm going to go upstairs, try to finish this song off with all the piano parts. It's going to be fun. Cello is really hard to get perfect. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. That might have been the last one I had to do. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna go upstairs, start making the song. Let's go. So now that I got all the stuff recorded, it's time for me to upload them to my computer and start making the song. Now, I don't really have a lot of experience in making music, so I'm gonna be using a program called Soundtrap that is basically just a free online composition software. So I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm gonna try to figure it out in the process, but yeah, I hope it goes well. I began to edit the song on Soundtrap, listening to how it sounded compared to the other parts, and just trying to figure out where I needed to line everything up to perfectly recreate Memory Reboot. As I put the song together, it sounded more and more like the final copy, and it just made me really proud knowing how far I got and that I was able to do something like this. Do you hear that little click right there? Now, in order to fix that,
you can come in here and do something called a crossfade, which is basically where you just slightly fade out and slightly fade in like that, and it's gonna look like that V. That helps to prevent the click. Pretty cool. It took me almost 5 hours to edit this song just on Soundtrap, and I feel like this should serve as a testament to what this video is about, that one song can change everything. If you truly love something, then you'll be willing to spend hours of your time, because you know the final result will be worth it. So now, after dozens of hours of recording and editing the song and editing the video, it's finally time to show you the final copy of the recreation. In the background, I'll kind of put like a history of how far I've come in terms of music, and also some pictures from the clubs I was talking about. Overall, just kind of a meaningful journey of music and the song in general, so I hope you enjoy that in the background. And I understand now that it may not be the most professional sounding. I really put in a lot of effort and heart into it, and a lot of passion. I think it definitely reflects like my ability within the instruments, so I really hope you enjoy. So without further ado, here's my recreation of Memory Reboot. Wow, what a journey this video has been. And if you guys have stuck all the way this far, I really appreciate you. You don't know how much it means to me. Originally, I wanted this video to serve as a reason to why music can be so important in life.
and I still think that it is. I believe that anybody can find connections with songs just as I did and change their life through music, transforming the way you interact with others, perceive memories, or even just have fun. And that's what Memory Reboot did to me. It made me realize that there's more to life than just going about your busy days, and that if you dial it back, if you listen to a song, and you truly spend time within the present, you can create lasting memories that you'll remember forever. I was able to show the song to the same friend that heard it with me for the first time. This is a very special moment for me because it's a year and a half later since we first heard the song that we're reacting to it right now. And it was a little bit awkward at first, but you know what? He still really enjoyed it and we got to make a really great memory with each other. And that just proves how this song really changed my life and led to meaningful connections with my friends. But when I was working on this video, I also realized something else. Not everybody has a passion for music. However, everybody does have a passion for something in specific, and that something makes them them. That something makes them a unique person, and it really sets them apart from everybody else. So, what I'd like to leave you off with is not just that one song can change everything. It's that if you're truly passionate about something, you should go and try to better yourself at that thing. You should spend more time learning how to do it. You should spend more time practicing, recording yourself, or even hanging out with friends while doing that thing. So, if you're going to take anything away from this video, yes, you should know that one song can change everything. But also, if you have that passion, go try to pursue it. Because you never know when you might not have any more time down the road. Make the most of your life, make the most of your hobbies, and just pursue things that make you your unique self. Not someone else, but you. You deserve to be pursuing the passions and the things in life that you truly love. This video has allowed me to see that within myself, and I really hope that you can see that within yourself as well. So wherever life brings you, just remember, not only did one song change everything for me, but the same kind of idea can apply to yourself. Go pursue that passion today. Don't wait. Make friends, memories, and have the best time of your life. Thank you.